Everybody has the ability to be great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. Oh, Monday morning, we're here again. Tyler Davis.
Greg Thomas, how are you, man?
In the house.
Ready to rock.
Oh, yeah, coming off a hot one last week.
It was, man.
Man, that was fun.
Just felt right.
It did. A lot of people don't realize it, but we had to play a game of Ricky Repeater.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, man.
Run it back. It's all right. You know,
Guilty.
sometimes, hey, you know what's crazy about that, you know, is there's things you can't control, right? And you pivot and you roll. So we had the whole podcast recorded last week, had it going. We're sitting here trying to mess with the intro, trying to make that right. And
I hit too many buttons.
hey, ish happens, right? There was bigger things at work. Said, hey, you're going to do it again.
Exactly. And that's what it was, man. It was just the universe saying, hey, let's run that back.
Scratch it.
Yeah, man. Run it back.
Yeah, man, it was good. It ended up working out great, you know, and you just kind of roll with it. Like a lot of things we talk about, you know, you got to be good at making a pivot. Life comes at you, right? You know, sometimes you get punched in the mouth. What are you going to do?
Exactly. You're going to get up and keep swinging.
You're going to keep moving. Perpetual motion. Keep it moving forward. You're always moving forward. You take the hits and you keep moving forward.
Yeah, man.
You know?
You just got to know it's coming.
If you think you're going to walk around and think that you're not going to hit some speed bumps here and there, you're prepared to fail. Yeah. So, you know, this week is kind of fun in that vein, right? You know, we talk about how to be successful, how to do things, how to take things in stride, how to motivate yourself, how you do things just a little bit differently. But we're going to come at you from a different angle.
Yep.
Today, 3 ways to fail at everything in life. Okay, we talk about how to succeed. Let's just air it out there. Here's how you will fail.
Yeah, there are some universal truths when it comes to that.
The driver, autopilot.
Yeah, man.
Okay, you don't even know you're doing these things. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine, starting this quest of losing some weight, dropping some pounds, and I was like, dude, you know, actually, it's funny you say that because, you know, I thought you lost a couple when I saw you yesterday. And he goes, I got a long way to go. I'm like, hey, you know what? That might be true, but you need to focus on what you have done versus reminding everybody how far you have to go. That's not healthy. That isn't doing anything for you.
100%. Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's being in the right headspace about it.
You can attest to that. You remember being in that mindset. We all are, like, where you think that there's some kind of martyr bonus about, you know, kind of be rabbit, right? Beat everybody to the joke.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I used to live that. I was the butt of my own jokes.
Oh, yeah. And really funny with it, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah. It was like, hey, I'm in shape. Round is a shape. You know? That's my thing. But, like, I mean, but it was not healthy.
No.
It's not from a good spot.
Not at all. And it didn't really help you. If you were trying to get motivated, it doesn't get you more motivated by doing that. Calling yourself out isn't like this justification station that you think it is.
No.
It's actually like quicksand or like mud that you're stuck in.
Exactly. And every time I did it, I knocked myself down a little further. I just didn't realize that's what I was doing.
You will continue to fail with that mindset.
Correct.
If you can't snap out of it, if you can't get out of the mud, if you can't realize that 6 inches over here is pavement and you're standing in mud, you know, you just got to take a little sidestep, a little pivot, right?
3 feet from gold.
We're going to dive right in. 3 ways to fail at everything in life. Number 1, blame your problems on everybody else.
Oh, man. Yep.
Also known as the victim vortex, okay? You're just getting sucked in, and then you end up hanging around people that just cater to that and pander to that.
Well, yeah, because it becomes a circle of friends where you just trade complaints,
Perpetual
trade stories. Yeah.
Just as, you know, circular, right?
And then you got the one-upper. It's always worse.
Oh, absolutely. And then you're like, well, hey, it could be this, could be that, da-da-da-da. And then you're competing for, like, you know, one crappy thing about yourself with someone else's crappy thing, and it's like ends up being this whole cesspool of things that you feel like you're not in control of.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of them aren't even facts. It's feelings. No. Facts versus feelings. Two very separate things.
Because you get in your feels about stuff, and that's a vicious cycle because you're doing it to yourself. You're keeping yourself down. But you think that you're like kind of owning it. It's like, oh, I'm going to own that. Well, you don't need to own like what you can physically see. You know what I mean? From like specifically being like in shape. You know what I mean? You don't have to own that. You know that. Like,
oh yeah, I remember I used to hide at night when I was first getting started from my wife and kids, and I'd sneak and have some snacks. And then one day it was like, hey, you can't hide from yourself.
Oh yeah.
Who am I hiding from?
But then you start thinking about, you justify or blame everything on everybody else as why that's okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or, hey, I didn't get this job, or I didn't get this promotion, I didn't get this acknowledgement because of X, Y, and Z. Look what happened to me, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, they had a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, for sure.
They didn't like me.
No, absolutely. Yeah, there has to be a reason. It can't be me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like that saying, you know, when you got one finger pointing at someone, you got three pointing right back.
Yes.
If you don't realize that no matter what happened, you had a hand in it, okay?
Well, I mean, everywhere you go, there you are.
Oh, you're going to fail at everything you do if you can't find out how you had a hand in that outcome.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's what I could have done. But there's a fine line there, okay? There's no martyr bonus. We don't need to fall on invisible swords, okay? So you gotta, you know, do that dance.
Yep. Yeah, man.
You know?
It is, and it is too. I mean, it's one of them things where you just you gotta go through it to come out the other side. You know,
With
a better, stronger person.
Right, with the right set of lenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? So stop blaming people for everything. Man, you know, whether someone else had a hand in it or not, you put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
You walked through that door. No one like hopped in you and possessed your body and walked you into that situation. You were there. You had a hand in it.
Yep.
It's so much easier to realize what you had control over, right?
Control your controllables.
Or even know them.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Like, lead with what you can control.
That's
okay?
surrendering right there.
That's it. You surrender to the moment.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you can speak to that. You know, when you finally surrender to your situation and realize that, hey, I've been looking at this all wrong.
Well, yeah, and then the lens gets really clear.
Oh, for real.
When you really step back and assess, like, okay.
But you got to do that with love. You have to love yourself, okay? You can't step back and have this realization from I Suck Island.
No, you can't.
You cannot do it. It just will not work. You will get sucked back into that victim vortex. It will happen. So, number one, you blame all your problems on other people.
Yep.
That's it. Number two, you complain about everything.
It's always cloudy.
Dude, you can pitch up, right? About any single thing. All you are doing is taking a look and picking everything apart just because that's a familiar brainwave.
Right. And a lot of times it's just habit. Habitual things to initially start a conversation with somebody in the grocery aisle or something. How about
Autopilot.
this? Yep.
So like we used to do interviews, and even, you know, when we have them now, you know, hey, I'm gonna walk out of this room, go do something. I want you to write down the 5 things you notice about this room. That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
If I start seeing stuff about, I notice a little crack in the wall, or hey, I noticed that these paint schemes don't really work, or hey, you know, this here, this there, this that, you know, and start picking everything apart and it's all negative, that tells you a lot about somebody.
Yeah, where's their head at?
They're sitting there talking about like, hey, tell me about something where it didn't quite work out.
How'd you handle that?
Right?
Yeah.
You start hearing a combination of 1 and 2, right? You start hearing about how all these other things were everybody's fault but yours, okay?
Yeah.
And then how you complain about all these different things.
Yeah.
So you know what a complainer is really good at? Doing nothing.
Yeah, man.
Not willing to take any kind of action. There's no inertia. There's no force they're applying to themselves to create motion.
It's not my job.
Not my job.
Yep.
Not my job. We run into that in this business all the time. Not my job. Not my job. Oh, not my job.
Yep.
Yo, it drives me batty because we're all part of the same common goal. You're trying to achieve a common goal, a common outcome.
Yeah, man. And flip it to a how can I help?
Right. Don't you hope that people eventually feel like the toxic impact of like thinking that way. Don't you feel like crap when you start complaining all the time? When you catch yourself, you're just like, you feel heavy. You feel like you gained 10 pounds in a conversation.
There's a lot of times that it'll take hearing somebody else for me to reflect back and be like, oh,
wait.
Oh.
You know, and like sit there when you're doing these things and you're say you're working through right now, they kind of have a bad attitude, or you're, you know, perpetually blaming other people or not holding yourself accountable. You know how the easiest way to do it?
What's that?
One thought at a time. Get your little notepad. Get your little sticky pad, okay? It's only for you. You don't need to explain what this is. And I want you to catch yourself every time you're complaining. Just put a little mark down. Doop.
Yep.
Doop. And then at the end of the day, I want you to take a little inventory, be like, oh man, I caught myself complaining, going off on some, you know, Tommy tangent, okay, forever. I stopped that 5 times today. And maybe tomorrow I'll stop it 6 times.
Yep.
You know, maybe I'll stop it 7 times. Maybe I won't say it at all and I'll only think, and I'll stop it at a thought instead of having it come out of my mouth.
As a complaint.
Right.
Yep.
You're voicing the things. If you're saying these things out loud, you're already on autopilot.
Well, yeah, and your words are creating your reality.
Think about what you're not saying. So what we're really talking about is shedding this complainer mindset, right? Because it's there again, shrouded in being a victim. You want to fail at everything in life, you should probably complain.
Yep.
So no good. And they're tethered together, 1 and 2, 100%. They're like two sides of the same coin. If there was like a third side of a coin, you know what it'd be? Not being grateful.
Yeah.
Right? So number 3, you're not grateful.
Yeah.
You couldn't even tell me the things that you're thankful for having.
Man, and how often does that just go by? Like how many, just think about from the moment you wake up and you walk out the door, how many things do you pass? How many people do you pass? How many conversations do you get to have?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the fact that you're walking, I mean, you could go on and on down the list.
It's about paradigm shifts, right?
Yeah.
You start comparing.
Man.
So that's why I love working with, like, you know, a lot of veterans. You know what I mean? You want to talk about things that we take for granted, right? Not being grateful. You know, I'm grateful for the fact that freedom isn't free. That realization, right? Just knowing that if you want to snap yourself out of a funk, start being grateful. Start thinking about counting your blessings.
Yeah, man. Think about all the things that you have the opportunity and blessing to do today that somebody would give anything for.
And I start thinking about the people that struggle with this, that don't have gratitude on the forefront of your mind. I really have compassion for these folks because they know not what they do to themselves.
Right.
And they're all there again, victim vortex, sucked them in a long time ago. So there's no way they're going to be able to have an attitude of gratitude or have any kind of inventory of their blessings or what's been going on and the great things in front of them, like, hey, you work inside, or hey, you work outside but you're awesome at your job and you got a great trade and you provide for your family and you have a future and you're doing all these things, and man, you got a car that runs, man, you know, you're able to go to the grocery store and you know that debit card's going to work. You know, you might as well be a let there be light card because you know you put in your work and you got it done. You don't have to worry about that embarrassing moment where you got to start taking stuff off the bill.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you start thinking about even being grateful for that kind of stuff, or like, oh, hey, look at this light switch working, man.
That's like one of the times that we were saying a prayer at night. My kids asked me because I would say, thanks for all the people that helped this food get to the table. Because, like, just think about that.
Oh, right.
At dinner made at home, like, how many things had to happen? How many blessings had to occur? And how many lives?
Oh, man, think about how great we have it now as a society, like where you can have every meal made for you, right? Like you got your own butler, like your own Jeffrey, right? So
you're underestimating our
sneakiness.
Saying,
there's so many folks that they feel like they're trapped and they can't get to the root of why things don't work out.
Key word you just said, get to the root.
Right.
I mean, for me and the life changes that I made, it wasn't until I stripped away everything and got to the root. I mean, the weed keeps coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Until you get the roots out.
Well, dude, and my struggle was the mental side. You know, I had to get to the root, to the fiber optics, because like, why was I always feeling like all these things were happening to me? Oh, Now, thankfully, I had some awakenings when I was, you know, pretty young. You know what I mean? And those little glimmers of light I latched onto. Like, oh, yeah, like someone saying, like, hey, you're going to be just like so-and-so. I'm like, the hell I am.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same.
I'll show, you know, or like, you know, people telling me I can't do something. Okay, I'll show you.
Right.
You
well,
know what
it
I mean?
just means you have to go back. You got to outwork your competition.
Well, it comes back to that. It definitely does. No doubt about it.
Yep.
Right. But if you're not willing to look at something different, if you just accept mediocrity, if you're just accepting what happens to you because, oh, this is just what, I got bad luck. You ever heard people talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
Yep.
How defeatist of an attitude is that? You're always going to be like that. You're always going to be stuck.
Yeah.
You know
How
what
is
I mean?
it some people make their own luck?
Oh, it is. You know, so 3 ways to fail at everything in life. Number 1, blame all your problems on others, right? Number 2, complain about everything. And number 3, don't be grateful. You know, really put a button on this thing. You are in control of your mindset. If things keep happening, it's you. Okay, it's not this car. Someone didn't cut you off. Someone didn't rob you of an opportunity. It starts with you. Maybe it's you.
Yeah, and that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Love yourself. Self-assess from a good place. Take a look in the mirror and realize that you are driving this bus. We're out. I want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.